so that we can, yes, perfect. So are we ready to roll? Yes, amazing. So Seth, Sarbat, and Satmukh, welcome to our Slow Mastermind session within the 6 Spaces of Growth. We're so glad to have you here and spend this evening with you and just go on this journey of the evening together. And so we'd love to start off by just hearing about you and introducing yourself and just letting us know how you've arrived on your journey.
Yes, thank you. And welcome everybody. And thank you for inviting us. My name is Sarbat. I will start. And we are married. We have been married for 12 years. And we came to this path from different sources. And when we met, we were already both teaching, and we started together in China because Satmukh was in China. I was more in, we are living in Austria. So I was more active here in Austria, and I had a teacher training every year already. I had it for 10 years. So when we met, he said, well, why don't we do that in China? And I guess this is why he married me, because I'm joking, but I have to say that our private life and our professional life are very together. They were never apart. So I left my job, the job I had, and we left off to China and we started there. And from there, we met people that then had ideas of this country and this country. So we ended up then traveling together and doing teacher training in China, Taiwan, Turkey, Australia, different cities. And we founded the school that we now have. It's called the 3A, Ajay, which is a Kundalini Yoga mantra, which means strong, invincible, and courageous. Ajay awakening. And through this school, we try to develop mainly local communities of teachers and trainers, local community that can sustain themselves, hopefully one day without our help, so that the teaching can continue, can upgrade their life without being dependent on us. Yeah. I talk too much like an Italian as usual. But Satmukh always finds something else.
I just remember that I had this call for China, and the first city I went was Shanghai, which was the opposite of slow. And I ended up actually with a friend creating a company, which was a yoga that was called Slow Motion, in opposition to this wave that we could feel, and that was really beyond all my reference that I could have at this time, because I traveled a lot, but never in Asia and never in countries with such population. So when I went there, that was quite a shock. And I think in answering that shock, we tried to offer something completely different with a slow motion, going in the mountain and doing yoga. So there was always this consciousness of not necessarily being slow, because for me, the slow is more about the presence and the awareness and allowing ourselves to be in tune with our own rhythm. And sometimes we need the outside to be very fast and to be crazy to stimulate this need and to realize that we need to respect that. Otherwise, we can very easily fall into imbalance and unhappiness, actually.
Thank you so much for that. And speaking of slowness and what it means to you, what would you say that slow living means to each of you?
You want to start, Satmukh, or I start?
For me, slow living, it's really the presence you put in the moment and how much you can be there, not to reproduce the past or to project what the next moment should be, because somehow we are conditioned by our past experience, our memories, or fear about the future, and we miss the moment because we are so busy. We are never there. And we cannot be slow. That means we cannot be respectful to our own rhythm if we are not connected to the resonance of the moment within us. So it's about sensitivity, it's about presence, and it's also the courage to question my habits and my automatic behavior. What I was doing yesterday, is it still valid now? Is it still what resonates within me? And we don't take time for that. We run, and then boom, we bump on the wall and we're like, oh, there might be something wrong in my life. But this we can avoid. We don't need to suffer. And unfortunately, we live today in a society that is mostly disconnected from the natural rhythm, the cosmic cycle, the natural rhythm of life, and so on. So we are very much attracted by an artificial fire through social media, through a lot of activity outside of us, and the tendency is to run with that. We think this is the way we should be, and this is the way to be prosperous and to be successful. Unfortunately, many people realize through life that it doesn't work, and they start yoga, or they start to say, "Oh, I will check what is slow living." Or, so that would be my definition, really about presence, sensitivity, awareness, and questioning what is there for me now.
Yeah, but for me, it's pretty much the same. Slow, it's a digestion process. Slow means that we are aware of what is happening. It doesn't necessarily mean that we slow down at the time. It means that there is no time, so that I live now in the present moment and I digest what is happening. And this is difficult because we all have a very big imagination, and our mind is much faster than the body. We all know that, right? So if we think of doing something, we have already done it with the mind, and the body has to start getting moving. So we usually leave it behind. We stop feeling and we stop integrating, and we run after our mind. Which causes also physically a lot of change in everybody, because the mind is, of course, we tend to situate it in our brain. So we run with the head forward. Many of us put a lot of strain in our lower back because we run like this. And because we run like this, we have to put the head high. And this causes also here pain and shoulders, and we know all that. And slowing down for me is also paradoxically to feel these tensions and this pain and say, hey, wait a moment, what's happening here? Because I'm so busy in what's happening there, or what should happen there, that I forget what is happening right now here. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people these days can really resonate with that. And they're so far ahead of themselves that they don't even know what's happening here until they say, oh, I need a massage, or oh, my shoulders are hurting me, and not really digesting the present moment. So that's so beautiful. And so what if, based on, your powerful journey, you've been practicing for over 20 years. So if we get right into it and we say, through such a dedicated journey, what have been some profound gems of wisdom that you have encountered about this life that we live, and what can you share with us in that?
For me, if I understand your question correctly, I hope what I found through this work is the goodness of people, and I really like that. And if you ask me why I teach, I would answer because it gives me a possibility to see the people for who they really are. When I go to the supermarket or outside, I don't see who they are. I just see the way they fight life. And yeah, we have so many filters because we have to protect ourselves to function. And yeah, and this work allows me to see people for who they are. And so that's for me the big wisdom that I got, is that there is a lot of goodness And it's sorts of reverse. I was thinking about that today, because when I was younger, I would be idealistic and I would say, I want to save the world. You know, these things that you think very arrogantly that you can do with. So I went also to Africa and I wanted to help everybody. And I had a lot of bad experience, like if the people I wanted to help stole in my house, and I started then to give candy to children that they literally attack me, and people were yelling at me, you cannot carry candy here. So, you know, the idea that I had, I would be there and everybody would be around happily, never happened. So I started from an ideal of goodness that wasn't the real one that I had seen when I was young in the world. And this put me really off. And so I rediscovered it the other way around, going deeper into people rather than trying to help. It's just listening and being here and letting them come up with their goodness.
What comes to me now is the I mean, at some point in my life, I was so tired of myself that I thought that by changing everything outside, I would discover who I am. So this is one of the reasons I went to China and trying to be lost for a while without any reference. And I realized that after 6 months, I faced again the same person, which was me. I carried everything. And this is a very big teaching for me. It's we create our own reality. There is nothing wrong with life. Nothing. Life is life. There is no bad life. There is no good life. There is just life. And we are life. So the only thing that creates a discontinuity or problems is how we label it, how we judge it. This is the only problem. Otherwise, there is nothing to solve. So there is nothing to change. We are perfect. The only problem is we use the mind to put some condition on life. Oh, it should be like this. Oh, no, this day sucks. Oh, I should have more money. Or I should be more healthy. Or I should be more pretty. And this creates a lot of stress and creates a lot of tension that we compensate with food and so on. So what I learned through this journey is actually the only problem is me. And the only solution is me. And do it now, because there is cycles and the quality of time change. And especially this year and the transition we have been living the last 2 decades, it's now. We don't have excuse anymore. The society will not somehow protect us from not being ourselves. We need, if you have a feeling, an insight of changing job, going for that direction, changing something in your life, adding something in your life, do it. Do it now. There is no time to waste. And this is what I realized, maybe because I've got more and more white hair, so I see the end of the end of it. And I'm like, no, but why I should wait? For which reason? For which reason?
Very interesting. And of course, just flowing from that, there are maybe 100 more questions I can ask you on that, because I think it's something that we talk a lot about in our masterclass space and with our participants. And, you know, what is the difference between patience, for example, versus just doing it? Where is the balance when you have an impulse and you say, should I do that or should I be more patient? And then also when you do realize that you have to change within to be able to always be okay, like you mentioned, and not keep running away from yourself. What do you feel, or what are the tools, or how did you do that? Right? So how did you pull yourself out of that reality and say, hey, no, I'm here, all is well within me, the external is always just going to be the external? How did you jump out of it, I would say?
I suffered. One day I was like, okay, I need to find a solution. And in our teaching, the master that brought this teaching, or reactualize universal teaching through Kundalini Yoga, he said, you know, it takes as much as energy to be neurotic than to be spiritual. which means it takes as much as energy to wake up in the morning and do a practice that will connect to your inner being than going for an ice cream and digesting the ice cream and the hamburger and the vodka and so on. You know, it's really a matter of at some point in your life, because of the age you have, or because the experience you faced, or because of good karma, I would say, is the moment for you to dive into something deeper within you. You're like, okay, my priorities need to change, because automatically, if you want to change life, I mean, change the relationship with yourself, you will need to change your lifestyle. It's not possible otherwise, because the outside will condition what you do, the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you have sex. This will help you or not to be in touch with your inner being.
Beautiful. And speaking of food, one of your students of your Kundalini certification program, and actually a good friend of mine, was sharing with me your adventure of a 3-month water fast. And I was curious to ask you in that regard, what can you tell us about the power of the food that we eat and the learning from this experience that can invite more good energy into our everyday? And how important is food? Because obviously taking care of yourself is not just mind and soul, it's body as well, and all of it is interconnected. So curious about that experience and what you learned from that.
Yeah, it was a very beautiful experience, and we started it exactly because well, we actually hope one day we would just eat light forever. It didn't happen. We realized it was not possible for us, at least not possible now with the kind of life that we have. But we were very curious because food, we realize how much food affected our thoughts, how much it changes according to the activity we have, and how much the activity we have changed according to what we ingest. So it's very connected, and we eating is one of the ways that we use, and maybe the main one apart from breathing, to recycle energy, to create energy to use for this life. And the way we consider food today is actually doing the possible. It's taxing our system, is giving us some nourishment that we can transform in energy, but there is a very high cost, because it's a lot of food that carries also a lot of toxins and a lot of work for our organs. So we know from teachings, from yogic teachings, and now also from esoteric teachings, that it is possible that the body learns to produce that energy without the full steps from solid to subtle, just to create the subtle. It makes sense, right? So food is transformed in energy. So our body could be able to do with the light of the sun, could do the same, and not passing through this step of solid food and yeah. So we tried, and it was very beautiful. There is a part of detox, and which is physical, of course. And this wasn't too hard because we already ate quite good generally. But then what really was different from a normal diet, I would say, is that the thoughts start detoxing. And also then you detox spiritually. So it's like layers. First the body, then the emotion, then the mental, and then spiritually. It's like things that have been laying in your system for a long time start coming out, and you start processing what remained in your system that wasn't unprocessed. So it was very beautiful to see all this layer leaving the body. And indeed, it brought, Satmukh might speak then about his experience. To me, it brought then healing of the body. I didn't have any pain anymore. No, we usually have some, today is the knee, then tomorrow it's here. We don't know why, then it's here. It's just like this pain that is walking through your body and every day shows up differently. It all left. And what I really liked very much is that I just slept 3 hours per day and I was very fit. And the mind was so clear, really very clear. I could work much more. I suffer migraines, and at this period I didn't have migraines. And yeah, I gained a lot from these saving times in cooking, in eating, in shopping, and in sleeping. So I had really a lot of time for other things. Yeah. And we couldn't sustain it after, because we came back to full-time online with students. We cannot, and we don't want at this stage to allow ourselves to say, no, now I need to meditate 3 hours or be alone. We are here for our students, and so we can't keep our own rhythm. And this is not possible. So as soon as we started working again, we started losing weight, which is a sign that you are not living energetically, but you are living out of the substance of your body. So this would be a fasting, and a fasting shouldn't go that long. Yeah.
Wow.
We started eating again, but with the hope one day that we can stop again. We'll see.
Amazing.
Yeah, what is important to say, it came naturally. So it's not like we were like, I mean, we encountered that many years ago in Australia, like maybe 20 years ago, about this pranism. I mean, there is different name for it. And this time it came progressively. At some point we couldn't eat, and we were like, what's going on? You know, we were not attracted anymore. We couldn't relate anymore. So we were like, okay, it might be time to start. And there was some synchronicity with other people. So it came as like, okay, we try for 20, I think it was 21 days. And then we just continued. And what was fascinating for me is that I dissociated food with energy, because I was full of energy and I was not eating. So I couldn't understand that, to be honest. I'm still confused about it because it's a period of my life where, like Satsabat said, I was so clear and so full of energy, and much more respectful as well to the need of my body. Because if I needed to sleep 5 minutes, I would sleep 5 minutes. I would not be like, okay, no, let's take a coffee and continue. You cannot. So it creates a very intimate relationship with yourself. And also what I discover is most of the time I was using food not to feel. Actually, I was eating in order not to feel what was uncomfortable for me. And I was like, oh my God, actually, most of the food I was eating, because I could survive without food. So I was like, oh my God, but why do I eat? Is it only not to live, or is it to live? You know? So it created really something that I couldn't grasp with the mind. And another thing also that I discovered is many times we associate grounding with a kind of heaviness. I need to ground myself, so I need to eat something heavy. And actually what I realized is that you don't need to be grounded, you need to be rooted. And you are rooted when you are connected to what's going on around you, the people, through your sensitivity. This is the roots of the tree. So this also completely shifted, because I have the tendency to be high, but I was not high at all. I was very much grounded, not like a fasting. I was very much grounded because I felt a lot. So this was really, a very deep lesson and very deep insights. And then at some point, it didn't work. I started to lose a lot of weight. And after that, I would have lost a bone. So I didn't have a lot of extras. They are very fat compared to when I was doing it. So you can imagine. And it was not appropriate anymore. And I still don't understand how we moved from eating normally to no food to back to normal. This is also a mystery, and how the body can adapt, and really the body is there to sacrifice itself for the experience we want to have in life. So if you want to have a nightclub, getting drunk and going late, going late to bed, the body will sacrifice.
Yes.
You will always be at your service. If you want to have a pranic experience, the body will adjust. If you want to have this or that, the body will always be there to serve your purpose, actually. And that was also very touching.
That sounds extremely interesting and extremely intriguing. And I think especially what you say about the layers of the clearing and then the clarity and the lightness and the energy. 3 months sounds like quite a stretch. If we were to embark on a 21-day journey, is that enough? Or does it really take the 3 months to really get to that level? Just for those who may be curious to try it.
It's enough, but I also wouldn't do it on your own, because it's raise out also fears.
Yeah.
And because there are people that tried it, I mean, there are even people that died. Okay, there is in every story something that went wrong, but it's not to undervalue, because one might not really feel what is going on, and the fear will come up. And so it's good to do. We did it the first time because we did it twice. The second time a little bit less time than 3 months. So we were accompanied in a group. We did with a group of people. So the first criteria is really what Satmukh said. You have to feel a call, and you cannot do it as a principle. I want to do it. You really have to feel it. And the second would be good if you are accompanied. If you find a group of it's pranic eating or light, you will find it online also. And there are Zoom groups. And if you are interested, I can also give you an address. And yeah, I mean, this is what I would suggest. Yeah, because it's not really like fasting, it's something different.
But we never stop the liquid. So because the
Yes,
kind of
that was it to
accident that
say.
happened in the past, because it started in the 70s and people were quite fanatic. They even stopped to drink.
Wow.
So like, which is completely impossible to understand for a scientific approach, but they were yogi, and they are still yogi that have been living without food and water for years, and they did some tests in hospital and they cannot understand how it works.
Like the level 2.0. It's very hard to get to, but I think definitely what you say speaks a lot of truth, because even through intermittent fasting or just fasting twice a week for a year, which I practiced some years ago in Hong Kong, I very much felt that when an emotion would arise, usually you would be like, okay, maybe I go reach for something, but because you're fasting, you have to deal with that emotion that comes out. Then you start to kind of feel a sense of clearing. So maybe even on a micro level, you can start to just see what it can do for you, but of course not going too extreme in any direction. But that sounds like quite a beautiful experience. Thank you for sharing that with us. And so if we shift a little bit into, the path of inner knowing and the path of inner awareness, which you have touched on. So when one feels called to that path of inner knowing and inner awareness, what would you say are some foundational or key questions that one could be asking themselves to get going in that way? Or maybe some questions that you have asked yourself.
Yeah, in my experience, actually, I didn't ask myself questions, they just came. I had searched in many directions, and really nothing really touched me the way that Kundalini Yoga touched me. And the reason it touched me is because it really allowed me to fall in love with myself first before I could fall in love with others. And I never had that before. I was looking outside for other disciplines and never had that focus on myself. So what happened with that focus is that I developed an observer. So the observer would rather see what was going on, and the question would come organically from that part. It's like I was doing the same things, and then there was this observer looking at me and saying, but why do you do that? How does it serve you? Don't you see the impact you are having on others? Don't you see that this is a fear? And so I answer those questions. So I'm not sure, at least it was not my experience, that when this awareness come, or this call to be on a path come, that we actively have to look for questions, because answers start coming without you even ask the question. Otherwise, is again a doing, it's not a being. So
Oh, yes, of course. Satmukh, will you add to that, or?
I guess we have different calling depending on who we are. So for some people, it will be more the mental understanding, you know, that will be the stimulation. Like, I need to understand, this is fascinating. Or some people will just be touched, you know, like by a teaching they heard or a mantra, and they want to go deeper into that experience. Or many people also need to heal. So they will come to this path because they are stuck with some disease or with some blocks. And so I guess we have different reasons to step into that journey. And yes, answers comes when we are ready to hear them. The problem is our ears are very dirty and we are a bit stubborn. And this is something which is very specific to Kundalini Yoga, because we tried and we are still practicing many spiritual disciplines, because when you are, I mean, the purpose is to be in relationship with yourself. So any tools that you resonate with is good. I mean, it's good to invest in that and go for this self-discovery. But what is very specific to Kundalini Yoga, and why the reason why it works fast, is it's a yoga where we will intentionally, through the posture, put pressure on our system. It's not there is many different kind of practice within that type of yoga. But there are a lot of posture or a lot of exercise that you really put pressure on your nervous system, because you want to discover on your yoga mat where is your reactive self. Instead of going back to your parents and getting angry at your mother again, you take a posture that triggered your nervous system, and that will trigger a memories that is connected to an emotion, that is connected to a quality of energy. And therefore, you have a possibility to digest it, instead of being confronted all the time in life to the same thing, to realize, hey, maybe I have to go deeper within myself. And this is why we are still teaching it, because we see the transformation in the student.
And in us, because we keep on transforming. So it stops, yeah, your student a lifelong.
And it's teaching that it's, you know, the teaching, they take different form according to the period we live in. So there is only one teaching, and then it takes different form, and you have to find the form that resonates, and it might change. You know, sometimes we were more attracted by this discipline, that discipline, but it's true that for us, Kundalini Yoga, the moment we connected to it, it kind of stick to our life until now. There was no choice. Of course, there were doubt and there were kind of up and downs, because it's part of the journey, but somehow it was there. Yeah.
I first came across the both of you at a rebirth experience several months ago, and you said something, Satmukh, that really stayed with me. And so when we think about modern life, making decisions or feeling in control of our life, so many people want to feel like they're in control, right? And that could lead to a lot of suffering and stress. And so at the rebirth experience, Satmukh, you mentioned that one never looks at the river and says that it's flowing the wrong way. So does that mean that there are no wrong paths or no mistakes, or can you elaborate on that statement?
I mean, you always make a choice with who you are at that moment. And life, and this is the beauty of life, and this is why life is so loving. Some people will call it God or goddess or divine, but out of love, the universe will send you a mirror of where you are not attuned with yourself. So there is never a mistake, except if you judge it as a mistake, or there is never a failure, except if you label it as a failure, because all this discontinuity on your path help you to realize which part of yourself were not into it. Because this is the problem in life, and this is the problem with why we are not prosperous in a sense of being fulfilled, is we don't say yes to life. We say yes, but. This is the way we function. It's yes, but. So this but is very important first to be aware of it, because many times we say yes, but we try to hide the but and justify it. No, let's be aware of the but, because this but is the part of ourselves because they were wounded, because of some past histories, or because of some fear. They are not willing to come with us. So they are numb. We don't feel it. They are kind of not in the field of our consciousness. So the purpose of a spiritual practice is to invite these parts, because they want to be loved, but we are scared of them. So this is the yes, but. We want to investigate what is this but, because this but is very exciting. It's the part of ourselves that we still need to discover. And if we don't discover them, there is always a sense of separation. There is always a sense of not being complete, or a kind of insatisfaction. So this but it's crucial, because there is something waiting for us there.
Very interesting. We're gonna have a lot to think about after today's session. A lot of reflections to take forward. And so that coming back to something that you had said, Satsar, about the rebirth experience as well. So, you know, the wisdom that one holds to truly live a slow life, you could say, or a mindful or conscious life, comes from knowing that all is in balance and all is in flow. And our path is evolving us to become a better version ourselves. And so in my path, possessing a deep trust in God gives me the confidence to do so. But then, Sarbat, you said something at the rebirth was also sounded very powerful. And you said, remembering who we are, remembering who we are. And if we remember who we are, we wouldn't need anything. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? And maybe I misquoted, but ultimately it was around saying, when we remember who we are, we realize that we don't need anything. So I'm just curious to hear what that means to you, because it just sounds really powerful.
Well, it's very much related to what you said, that for you, it's God. Remembering who we are, it's remembering our divine self. And there is no new age spirituality in that. I don't want to go there. It's, for me, the divine self is really who we are concretely. We are infinite beings. Our minds take us where we want to be. So why not being who we are without any fears? And part of the answer also is the step before the yes, but. Why we hesitate, why we justify, is because we have an expectation, like we have an idea on what we should become and what we should be in order to be loved, or in order to be successful, or in order to be appreciated. This is also the way most of us were educated, right? And what the society gives us. Usually you meet people and the first things, what do you do as work? And you have to find a very clever answer, because otherwise, oh, okay. So we are so used. All the media that we put in place with I like is to stimulate this performance. So we always try to be someone else, or to be that image of us that we would like to be. And by doing that, we create misery, because we need to reach there. So we create a need that actually does not exist, is self-created. And a lot of tools in order to go there. And while we do that, we will put more and more distance between me and what I want to be, which is very sad. So recognizing and remembering who we are is everything is there. We really, life could be so simple. We don't need anything. It's just making that experience and recognizing that we have been created like that. We came, it was our wish to be who we are, and we just forgot. That's why I spoke about remembering.
Wow. It was our wish to be who we are. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's an honor. This life should be honored because it costs a lot, and we are a facet of the quality we don't have. We can rejoice because others have them, right? So we are one body. We are a collective. And I saw that also my age increased, and I saw that many things that I cannot do before, I cannot be like before, I see them in others, and it's beautiful. I have them because others have them. If I see beauty, I am beauty. If I see ugliness, I am ugliness. It's up to me what I want to see. And comparing would be dramatic. This is what brings misery. If I want to be someone else, I will compare, oh, she's better than me, or he is better, he's more clever. And this is only a tragedy. But the quality of others belongs to you.
We've gotten good at that. We've gotten good at making everything more complex than it needs to be, rather than just taking the simple path and just being and then smiling at the sun every day, or the clouds or the rain or whatever it may be. So you currently host a range of workshops and experiences locally and globally, and you have a global community of students in different languages. When I joined your rebirth experience, there was a translator there, which is really interesting. And meanwhile, you're still able to upkeep your practice and upkeep your slowness in a sense. And so many of the beings that are taking part in this class with us today have a lot going on, you could say. And so what advice would you share with today's participants who feel maybe caught up in the hustle and the speed and the demands of their modern lifestyle, and who may feel it's not possible to achieve their goals at a mindful pace, which is really what many people these days perceive?
I mean, this is the just to express what is prosperity in the perspective of yoga. The prosperity in yoga is about letting things coming to you. If you're busy running after them, this is not prosperity, because you will never be fulfilled because you are running. You are running after something which do not even exist. And you are completely limiting the prosperity because you have a preconception of what will make you happy. And I'm old enough to know that these fall apart because there is cycles in life. And when you reach the around 40, 45, this is the moment that all the prana you invested in life in things that would make you happy, you know, you realize that actually it doesn't make you happy. It doesn't work. So this is the running after life. So people need to exhaust themselves. It's sad to say, but they need to go to the burnout to realize that there might be something else which is based on self-respect. Because if you are able to burn yourself out, that means there is just a little connection with yourself and there is no respect at all, because you need to shut down completely your sensitivity and the physical body to follow your mind trip, which is I should be this and that, and then I will be recognized, and then I will be happy, and then Papa will see me or whatever. And we completely burn ourselves, and we need to burn ourselves in order to realize that, hey, maybe what will satisfy me is within. But the problem in the society we live in, it's we exaggerate the burning. We burn too fast. we need to burn the illusion. We need to burn this fire, which is too much. And in order to integrate it and cultivate inner values instead of answering the expectation of others, But today, because of the society, it burns too fast. I mean, I heard, I don't even know her name, but I heard today that a tennis woman, 25 years old, she's getting retired, Australian champion. Sorry, I'm not so much into sport, but I was like 25 years old, and I heard her talking. She was like, no, but I'm too exhausted. I don't have the energy anymore to carry a professional career. 25. I mean, if you don't have the energy when you are 25, but it's how far we went into asking like squeezing the juice of the lemon. You have at 25 to say, my career is finished, you know. So at the same time, it's an opportunity, or it can really be a mental breakdown and a big crisis that is very hard to come up, because when you don't have the prana anymore to wake up, then there is not much to do. So we don't need to burn ourselves so fast and go in such extreme. We need to say stop before. So it's like, okay, stop. What's going on for me? What is this strength? What I'm following? Is there a way to nourish other needs differently? Maybe take 10 minutes in the morning to walk in the park, or just take my coffee in silence. You know, it can be very small things, but just to cut the kind of, it's like a trance. So we need to trick ourselves to create pause where another quality of information can infuse.
So if we're waiting for things to come to us, like you say, and we're not running after things, then what are we doing? how are we making things happen, or are things just going to come anyway? That's a big question that I get often as well.
It doesn't mean that you are not doing anything. It means that you are listening. And from that space of silence, you will use your mind to planify, schedule, enter into action. So you can be very busy, but it's out of a space of listening, which is, please God, tell me what to do, or my higher self guide me, if I make a caricature, yeah? But it's not out of the ego that in order to control, in order to project or what is a good life, we put effort in that or this direction. So it doesn't mean that you don't do anything. You might be even more busy if it's, because when you start to serve people, because that's the moment you are really in service. When you stop to listen to your ego mind and you start to listen deeper, you might be even more busy. I mean, we are very busy.
More than before, that's
more
true.
than before, you know. When I was running my own show, I want to become this and that, I was less busy than now. But today I'm less stressed.
Amazing. And speaking of silence, that also brings back to Sarbat, your words also in the rebirth experience. It was just so full of different phrases that really stuck with me there. And your words on the power of silence also resonated very deeply. Can you tell us more about, you know, what are the virtues of daily practice of meditation, mindfulness, and what is the power of silence to you, and what that can offer us if we practice more of it?
And Farah, before we go there, may I answer Emily's question on the chat? She said, give an example of what the bat can be.
Oh, yes, of course.
And it's I connect to what Satmukh just said and to your previous question. The bat is a limitation. We would like to do something, but we don't have the courage to change things. So we put the but because of this. So in this case, I could say, I would like to meditate and I would like to find some slowliness, slow down, but I don't have time because I'm busy. And sometimes I hear even my daughter, she said, I would like to meditate with you, but the morning I have the children. But, and of course, yeah, it's true. She has the children. And of course, yeah, one is busy. It's not a lie. But if you really want to do it, you do it. Because for decades, you find time to brush your teeth 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a day. This means you have time for priorities, right? You shower, you find time for things that are really a priority. So once you realize that your practice is the one that sustains your day, you definitely will find time for that. And it will make you, paradoxically, more time will be available because you will lose less time in doing things because your mind will be more organized. When you slow down, you see clearly and you don't lose yourself in many things that maybe are not all needed. Why you were laughing, Satmukh?
No, and today the time is not an excuse because we spend so much time on Instagram. We cannot say I don't have time.
It's true.
When you receive your you know, the weekly time you spend on your screen, you're like, oh my God, I could have meditated a lot.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
So about silence, Satmukh.
About silence. So what was the question on silence again?
It was more about, you spoke about the power of silence and how it was transformative for you in a sense, and just curious to learn about, yes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, for me, the practice brings me back to zero every day. And I realized that during the day, because of what happens, in action, we always have the tendency to get scattered and to lose ourselves or to identifying what we do. And always, it's not easy to remember to go back in and remember who we are. So there is a balance, a natural balance that gets lost when we are in action. We simply get out of ourselves. And even if we try our best, we live in a society where there are a lot of waves, a lot of other thoughts. We are influenced by everybody else and everything else. So we tune out, so to say, and at the end of the day, we reach a point where next day, if we don't bring the counter back to zero, we start with a sort of minus. And it's cleansing. It's like the shower for the body. You bring it back to cleanliness so that then you can spend your day accumulating stuff that then you have again to get rid of. Yeah? And another aspect of it is the ego. Whatever we do every day, and the ego, it's not bad. It's the ego, we need it to live. It's not that I'm considering it bad, but it's a limited part of us and it shouldn't lead the game. Yeah, that's clear. Whatever we do, even if it's done with a lot of purity, or it's the call of our soul, or call it the way you prefer, the ego will own that. For example, for one of you are teachers or talkers, or you speak to someone, or you do a class, and oh, it was beautiful, you like it, you did it really with the soul, with your heart, you like it. Well, if you identify with that result, next day, the ego will own the class. You will try, it's a caricature of the day before. You will try to exaggerate what you think they liked. You will feel good about yourself, and you program yourself for what is fake because the class of the day before doesn't exist anymore. So for me, meditating brings me back to the silence. That is, again, let's put everything to zero. Let's start again. It's not a failure. It's not a success. Today, it's today. It's what it is. And the ego cannot own anything if you do not possess anything at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, amazing. Yes. And Satmukh, do you want to add anything around that?
No.
No, you're good. Okay. I have two more questions, and then we can open the floor for some questions from the participants. And of course, we promised an 11-minute meditation guided by you. So my second last question is, what impact do you hope to make on the world through your journey and through your path? Since you do have quite a global community, what is the impact that you wish to make?
Well, what I said at the beginning, our goal is local community. And yes, for me, that's very important, that to render the teachings sustainable so that people can use them. They don't belong to anybody. They are just there for everybody to experience. They just need to be shared. So I I lost long ago the wish to change people, and but I didn't lose the wish to share what helped me. And if I am asked, I give. So that's very simple, my goal. I don't have a big thing.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Inspiring one person a day, it's good. So if this happen, that's perfect.
Yeah, amazing. Satmukh, what about you?
For many years, I had the I was identified to the savior, and that cost me a lot of energy and a lot of surprises. So today, I became a little bit more humble, and. Last week we were in a training in France, and part of the training was to work on the family tree. And when I was connected to my family tree, I realized that once I removed the stories, that means all my projection, all my memories of it happened like this and so on. And once I remove all this identification and attachment, what was left actually was only love. And it sounds very kind of cliche to say that, but I was really touched by it, because I was like, oh my God, actually, this is it. There is nothing else. All the rest is me adding layers on it, because I'm afraid of it. Actually, I'm afraid of it. Because if I really accept that a part of me, this ego mind, cannot exist, because my ego mind exists only where I say no to love. So today, this is, I would say why I teach, just for people to maybe realize that there is so much to enjoy in this life, and we don't need to suffer that much. And there is a simplicity that can be very fulfilling.
I love that. And finally, for all the participants that are with us today, if they wanted to learn more about your programs, your experiences, or your workshops, how can they find you?
Well, we are very bad at promotion. That's I have to say right now. Sorry. We have a website, and we have been doing for years a newsletter, which we send, and we really try. There is a last part where with our program, of course, but most of it is based, we call it, a part of it, we call it intuitive guidance, and we base it on numerology and on the number of the month. And we do it according to the topic that come up every month for us. So this newsletter has a lot of articles and a lot of also information on a program that we do, a subject, but mainly is an inspiration. And there are also some kriyas that one can practice on his own. And so that, I guess, is a good guidance and also because the topics are monthly and they might be true for many people. Yeah. And there are topics like the one we spoke of today. So, yeah. So if someone is interested, we could give you then after how to register for this newsletter. It's free, it arrives through MailChimp, and you can unsubscribe anytime. So it's harmless.
So I will share that with everybody as well.
Yeah, I guess that would be the easiest way, yes, to start. Yeah. And then of course we have Zoom classes and we have other things, but if one look at the website or receive this newsletter or write to us, we will, if you are interested, of course, we will tell you.
And there is a kind of two angles. One angle is more collective. So it's like the workshop you did or regular class we have on Zoom or teacher training. So it's a collective process. And we also have the more consultation, because we very much like numerology. And so this is more one-to-one when people need guidance and are a bit stuck, or need to look at their life from another angle. So this we like also, this personal relationship and guiding the people through the numbers and through that relationship. This is something we enjoy to offer, and it resonates very much with what we can contribute. But there is also all the training and that we do in, like you say, we have a problem with language. This is a karma we have to do because we traveled a lot. Now it's over with the COVID. We travel so much that we teach in Turkey, in Serbia, in China, in Australia, in France. So we in Austria. So we always end up with some French, some English, some German, some Chinese, some Turkish. So I'm sure you will find something in your own language.
Yes, I really very much enjoyed the rebirth experience. When my friend asked me if I wanted to meditate for 12 hours, I was like, hell yes. I just wanted to sit and be in silence and not think about anything and just be in that space. And it was definitely what the soul had asked for. So I will definitely share all your links with everyone here today so they can keep track of what's coming up. And if they feel called, then of course it would be great to keep in touch. So now I would love to open the floor for any questions. So feel free to open your mic and ask what you would like to ask.
Hi, how are you guys? So I really liked what you said about, now is the time to really make changes in your life if something's not resonating and really, just kind of go for what you really want. And I'm wondering how you sort of deal with the anxiety around that when you're changing so much in your life so quickly.
It's a very good question.
Yes. I mean, for sure, when you start to change what you're used to, your reference, what made you feeling safe, there will be an anxiety coming. And this, don't try to get rid of it. Don't try to find a solution to the anxiety, because the anxiety, which is also the fear, it's also the resources to find the right tempo, to respect you feel the call for the change, but maybe this change is not for tomorrow, it's for the day after tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. So the anxiety and the fear and the resistance is there to find the right timing. So it's not like, oh, I'm anxious, it's a wrong choice. No, of course, when you start to go for the call of your soul, your subconscious will release resistance. Your karma is invited in your life because you are going for your life. Instead of living the life of others, you are going for your life. So resistance will come. And what is important is not try to fix, but it's try to have some time during the day where you welcome this anxiety. Okay, I recognize I'm anxious. So where do I feel my anxiety in my body? What is it? And maybe some memories will be connected to that. Or maybe just by observing it, I mean, for sure, the situation will change. But when you go into intensity in life and change, it's important to sit, or even in the toilet or whatever, but to take some moment during the day where you just listen to what is there. I'm anxious. I recognize I'm anxious, and I just breathe through it. I feel it. I locate it. I enter in relationship with me through the anxiety. Use it as a resource. It's what I want to say, it's a resource. It's not a problem.
And it's also good not to go into the mental space of, sometimes we do this list, the pro and cons of a decision. You increase the duality. So holding the tension of the anxiety will hold you. There is only one decision. The decision is already taken. Actually, there is no decision. There is only one thing that you will do. So holding this tension will help you it's a question of balance. No, you have a lot of advantage to live the life you are doing now. You want to change it, so it's not yet mature. But then there will be a moment where this will be the priority and this is not anymore a need. So you need time to hold these two together. But if you continue pros and cons, these things brings you in a space where whatever decision you take, the other one will burp up the next day and tell, no, but now I remember why I wanted the other one. And, you know, and you just continue this, which is then you are stuck. You don't take a decision because it's impossible to take it. We all know now there were decisions in our life where we really didn't know what to do. So try to hold it until it's ready, and then you will see the advantages that you had choosing what you are doing now and you want to change. Maybe it's an old need that you don't have anymore. You have to let it mature in order to see that. And also maybe one clarification about that, because when we say the change is now, it doesn't mean you have to change today everything and to bring your life apart to make a new one. It just means the change is now, the change is within. Change today attitudes and the answer will come. It doesn't, I connect again to the patient that we were talking about at the beginning, yeah? Doesn't mean it has to change today, but the awareness is today and the practice is definitely today. So instead of trying to find a solution to your life, practice every day some moment of awareness, of mindfulness, or I would suggest the Kundalini Yoga practice, but there are many others, like Satmukh said, but do it every day because the answer will come from holding that.
Any other questions? Don't be shy. Yeah,
I
Emily.
have a question.
Yes, please.
My question is, when you want to transcend certain difficult emotions like fears or sadness, certain layers that have been repressed or resisted, and like through allowing them to feel, like then it can be released. But my question is, when do you differentiate when is it really being felt and released and passing through, as opposed to when is it just getting deeper in that specific emotion, and is it going deeper in the layers, or is it just coming from the mind creating stories, and then you're no longer like processing it, but you're sitting in it and not allowing it to pass through? Like, how can you differentiate? And if I feel like it's going in that time where I'm not allowing it to pass through, how can I put myself back on this path?
I don't see any difference in all what you described, yeah?
Okay.
Because the emotion, if we cannot connect it at the physical level in terms of sensation, so this is where we can really contemplate it, then the mind will react to it. And this is what I understand when you say, actually, it's just the mind reacting, and we go deeper in that fear, or we invent, we kind of create from the mind a way to avoid the fear. But this is part of the reaction to the fear. So what is important is, am I able to observe that? Okay, the fear is coming. I cannot feel it because it's too much. So I just contemplate the reaction of my mind, which is like freaking out because there is this fear and I don't know what to do. So it's not, there is no, this is the right experience or this is the right experience. The invitation is, can I just be there to what is happening and realize it is not me? I am not that fear. I am not that mind reacting. I'm not even that sensation. I'm not all of that. And this is what we cultivate through the yogic practice or the meditative practice, is the observer that Sarbat mentioned, is whatever happened, there is a part of myself that is called consciousness that is contemplating what's going on. And by doing that, I just remove the attachment and the identification. So then the prana, the energy I invest in that contemplative me, or in that observer, it's less prana for the fear. So whatever I observe my mind going cuckoo, or I observe my sensation being too intense, I'm nourishing the observer that will become more and more stable, and the fear will become a small story, and soon I will be able to laugh about it. Oh, the fear is coming back. So it's not, there is no right things to do, or the core of Kundalini Yoga is really the what we call the silence, or shunya, is how can I perceive it without trying to fix it, trying to change it, trying to reach a goal because I read in a book that I should release my fear. No, it's just, can I leave it 100%, whatever is there, mental reaction, physical reaction, emotional reaction.
Okay, thank you.
And for everybody, don't be afraid of your wounds, of your trauma. Don't be afraid of your fear, because we put a lot of layer on, oh my God, I have a trauma, I have to heal it. Oh, I have an emotion, I have to heal it. This is also simplicity. Yeah, this is also what the society did with us. We are broken and we need to be repaired. So this is the message we got. But we are not broken. It's very normal to have wounds. There are just memories. These are just memories. Hold them, and you don't need to repair yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. So when something less than comfortable comes up, observe it. Maybe it's intense. Maybe you even have pain for a while, really pain or emotional pain, but don't transform it in suffering because you put a layer in the mind. Oh, I shouldn't feel like that. I should heal this. Just let it be. It's like rain. It comes today, then let it go. Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you.
Emily, did you have a question?
Yeah. When you talked before about like family and layers and, you know, putting kind of like, I saw it almost as like labels also on it. It got me thinking, I'll try to formulate it like a question because I'm kind of thinking out loud, but like as anyone's family, I'm sure, you know, I have some interesting dynamics on both sides of my family where there's been, you know, falling out. Like my dad has a twin brother, and like they were off for a few years not talking, and then it was mostly because of business. And then my mom with her sister, and luckily within my core family, we don't have that, but I've seen that my whole life on both sides. And I loved when you talked about like, you know, removing those layers and just seeing love, but at the same time, like, I'm curious how can you take away like all the hurt and the resentment, not so much for myself, because I see it big picture and I see like kind of like either, you know, don't be in touch with someone if they makes you feel like terrible, or move on and forgive them. But I see, especially let's say on my mom's side, like she has a hard time letting go of things. Her and her sisters still talk about things that happened when they were 12. And it's like, come on, you're in your 60s and 70s, you know? So I wonder like how, because I want to learn from you so that I can maybe pass that along. How can someone achieve that when there is like so much resentment there?
There are the different aspects to this question, and one that really comes spontaneously to me now is, before I spoke about self-love, and this is where I connect the self-love and what self-love taught me. Self-love, when I said I fall in love with myself when I started Kundalini Yoga. This might sound very arrogant. Oh, she falls in love with herself. It's not that at all. Falling in love with oneself is suddenly to feel so much alive that there cannot be any resentment. Because people acted the way they did because of their limitation, they have nothing to do with you. It's a little bit, you know, when you are in such a good mood that nothing negative can affect you. That's what I'm talking about. Self-love is that. It doesn't mean that you love yourself and you feel great. It just means you are so in love with life that why do you want to resent people for what they did? They didn't not do it to you, unless you take personally, then you have resentment. They did it because they just screwed up because of their limitation. Everybody does the best they can at every moment. And sometimes this best, it's little, but it's still their best. So if you do not take it personally, there is not even nothing to forgive. And at the same time, you have to put your boundaries, because it doesn't mean that I will accept that someone punch me in the nose every day. No, I'll take my distance. I say, oh, you punch me in the nose, no resentment, but next day I will not come sitting near him. I will go somewhere else. It's normal. We are not masochists. Yeah. So that's one part of your question.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think that's kind of where I struggle on how to give advice to my mom sometimes, because I don't know, like the right direction, you know, like just forgive her, move on. But at the same time, you know, talking on the phone all the time with her sister makes her stressed and anxious. So like, how can I tell her to go talk to her and be friends when it makes her feel like really bad every day? So I guess that makes sense. It's like distance, but also self-love, so that you don't even need to forgive. You're just so happy with your life, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, and maybe you can ask her, she has expectations. That's why she gets stressed with her sister, because she has expectation that her sister will one day react differently or tell her different things. And she keeps on being frustrated because of her own expectation, not because of the sister. If she let go of her expectation, she talks about the sister like, okay, she is who she is. Now I listen and then I will hang up in 50 minutes. There's nothing wrong with the sister. Wrong is the image she has. My sister should be like that and she's not. And this is a misery, yeah, that we cause ourselves. Yeah. So there are two things, our expectation and how we take things personally. And these two are killing our day.
Thank you so much.
And it's also connected to the incapacity to be vulnerable. So we attach to a story, even if it's a conflict, like for example, your mother with her sister, and we prefer to stay in the conflict than to open ourselves to another relationship that offer a lot of unknown, where there is a potential for another experience, but it's unknown. So in that space, I might realize that I have nothing to do with my sister. Actually, I have nothing in common, and I'm not even love her. You know, I'm going into an extreme, but so many times we prefer to keep an old way of functioning because that's the way we are in relationship, and we are not ready to question that. And then as a daughter, the tendency is that how can I be neutral with that if my mother is not? So we have the impression we need to be, in order to say that we love the mother, we will become faithful to the family story. And just because we have the impression that this is the belonging. If we belong, I need to hate the sister or whatever, you know. This is the way I belong. I need to take side. And the way to change the dynamic in a family tree and in a family nucleus is to change this friction within yourself, to contemplate the tension that it creates within you, to have your mother being in conflict with your aunt. What is the impact on you? And are you able to contemplate this impact? Because if we are not able to contemplate this impact within us, all the solution you will offer to your mother is not for your mother, it's for you, because you are not able to contemplate this impact. And this is what we do. Most of the time, we help others just because we cannot bear the tension of their conflict or whatever situation that is not comfortable for us. So observe this path. Am I really able to be in touch with that, you know, because it sucks. You might be very frustrated about your mother. You might be angry at her. My God, you were 12 years old, shut up. Yeah? And honor that anger, because that might be what she needs to hear to wake up. You know what I mean? But when we put a layer of spiritual, mental stuff, oh, no, I should be neutral. So therefore, I will say, look, you should use conscious communication with your sister. And no. Maybe what you have to bring in this family is shut the hell up. Yeah, this anger. Who knows? But honor what is there for you when you're in relationship with that. It doesn't mean that you need to manifest it, you know. But if there is frustration, anger, sadness, because you would like more harmony, go into that, because this what belongs to you. And once you start to digest that, your mother might change. Because if you change, the family dynamic will change.
Thank you so much. I'm absorbing everything. The interesting part is my aunt is annoying. Like, I don't even know if I want her in my life. But I still think like the problem is not just my aunt, obviously, you know, like I still think the way my mom deals with it is not the right way, because even maybe just not talking to her would make it better for her. But there's a lot to think about. So thank you. I appreciate it.
And just to finish, the boundaries you put comes from that space. If we are not able to really feel the impact of a situation within us, and from this impact say, okay, this is where I stand, you don't enter that space, this will be respected. But if you put boundaries because you cannot feel, then it will create more tension for you to feel. You know what I mean? The boundaries come from a place where it's self-respect. It's not because you cannot be in relationship with a conflict and you try to get rid of it, avoid it, and not feel it.
So even the boundaries have to be conscious, you see.
Conscious in a way that out of self-respect. And it might be to recognize, yeah, no, I cannot be in relationship with that conflict because it's too much for me. So I cannot be near my sister or near my mother or whatever. But it comes from acknowledging what is there for you and not escaping it.
Thank you so much.
Should we take the final question from Alice, and then we can go into our meditation? We might go over time a little bit, but if you all have it, let's do it.
Sorry, I didn't want to actually stretch it so long. It's more an advice, actually. It's related to the first question and about change. So for me, there were many times where I wish I could have changed things and shift things, but this change involves also other people. So question is, because I always feel like I have to be there for people, I have to take, to put people first before myself. So am I right, or I have to be selfish and I have to think about myself? Because I don't know, I just don't want to regret it one day, like, oh, I wish I did it. And I did. So yeah, I don't know if you can advise on this.
I mean, there is no other than you. So putting other people first, it's a beautiful excuse. But
well, of course, these are people that I love. So, when the change involves, it's not everyone. So it's like, few people. And when the change involves these people, it maybe not be the right change, or I think it might not be the right change for them. So I just, you know, put it on the side and just thinking about it. And I keep thinking about it. And the more I think about it, and the more I think, oh, maybe I should have done it. So
Yeah, no, but this is why I started There Is Only You. You understand? Because at the end, when you will have your last breath, because you talk about regret, it will be you with you. And for me, it can be, of course, a consideration of people you love, because you are worried about the impact it will have. But when it becomes an excuse not to follow your call, this is different. It's not about love anymore, because you cannot love them if you don't love yourself. The sacrifice of the self is just the ego. It's just I sacrifice for others. This is I. So I exist through letting others having the priority. It's connected to childhood story and so on, and mechanism to be able to keep the harmony. And I don't know what is the story behind, but it sounds like a loving attitude, but it's not. Because, like Sarbat say, the base of love is self-love. You are alone. There is only you. There is only your perception of reality. So and this is the best teaching you can give to your children or to the people you love around you. It's going for who you are. Imagine the teaching you give to your children or to the people around you if you have the courage to go for who you are, even if there are consequences and a price to pay. This is the main thing you can offer to the next generation is that. The rest is secondary. Yeah?
It's a new perspective, actually. Like, yeah. Thank you.
And imagine also that with your family. Imagine hypothetically to have
we are lost, no?
yeah, maybe we're frozen. So we froze, sorry.
You're back.
Imagine hypothetically your mother sacrificing her life, not going for her life for you. And then you will never dare to go for your life. You cannot do better than your mother. So you will do the same mechanism. You will sacrifice yourself for your children. There are generations that sacrifice themselves, each one not doing the life that is meant for herself. So the best thing you can do is be yourself and teaching people to be free. This is what you teach them. When you teach yourself, when you go for who you are, you will teach others around you to do the same.
Okay.
And you avoid the guilt as well, because the next generation, if you sacrifice yourself for them, they will feel guilty. Oh my God, my mother, she didn't do that because she put me first. That's a load you don't want to give. Believe me.
I think I actually got it from my mother, because that's what she did. And so,
Generation through generation. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I said is connected to the childhood story, and is something that is part of being faithful to the mother, and also associating the loving relationships through that. And
yeah, thank you very much.
Alicia, do you have an example with that, or are you good?
No, I'm good. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you.
It's very
It's not easy. Yeah, I understand that. It's not easy also because sometimes, and this happened also to me personally, the people you love will tell you, oh, but you are selfish.
Yes.
Yeah, because they know, because they resonate with what touch us, and they don't want us to change because they are scared. Yeah, so people around us always try not to change because they are afraid that also the relationship they have with you, if you change, will change. So they will touch exactly the button that for you is hurting. And for you to hear that you are selfish is a big pain. So they will tell you are selfish. I come back to what Satmukh was saying before. The environment, the universe will always mirror what touch you in order for you to evolve and grow.
Thank you very much.
I don't know why Alicia's question also triggered some things in me as well. And it's because someone once told me, live for yourself. And I never really understood what that meant. What does it mean to live for yourself? Does that mean that you're just in yourself? Does it mean that you're not of service to others? What does that actually stand for? To just live for yourself. And yes, sometimes it does feel empty in that sense, but you know better maybe through your experience.
You know, the first person that came to my mind is Jesus. Jesus lived for himself. He was alone. He was traveling alone. He abandoned the people who were loving him. He left them behind in order to go and preach somewhere else. He lived for himself. He did what he was supposed to do. And 2000 years after, we are still accompanied by him. Whether you are Catholic or not, Jesus is an example for many. You can take another one if it feels too religious for you, but you know, when all the gurus give the same example, of course they were there for their family, but they were there also for everybody else. And how they did this is because they were there for themselves.
Mm.
And there is no separation. This is at this level, we hear, do it for yourself. We immediately feel guilty because we were not, you know, since we are little, share your toys. We immediately, even before we can learn what love for others is, they impose us to love others before we love ourselves. And this is, we are programmed for that, and we have to free us from that. You will never be able to love people if you don't love yourself. It's impossible because we are one. It's just one. So the limitation that you put into loving yourself, you will put also into others. There is no difference. You are never selfish. And there is no decision. Like I said before, there is only one path. So it's not you or them. It's never you or them. It's an illusion. It's just what has to happen for you and for them.
Yeah, that makes total sense. It just opened up a bunch of doors. But definitely, because your presence speaks of who you are. And when you are grounded and when you are loved, then that makes more of an impact on others. And you trying to be there for others when really you need to be there for yourself first. And that becomes contagious in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's very connected. In yoga, we talk about dharma. So dharma basically is we are all a manifestation of the divine, but in a limited lens, I would say. There is the big light, and it has to go through different lens. So there is Satmukh length, Sarbat length. So we can learn a lot from each other. But if we start to compare, this is a nightmare because I will never have this lens. So when we say live for yourself, I mean, it's finding the divinity that I represent in this life. And the moment this means being you, and the moment I honor it, I accept it, I have the courage to go for it, I'm in service of the totality. Because this is what God or what this cosmic unfoldment is asking. It's just, I need you to experience the creation. So why do you want to become something else? Live for yourself. This is the meaning. And the moment you do that, you contribute to the totality. So it can be taken as the ego level. I live for myself. I do whatever I want. But this is not what it means. It means why I'm here. What is what was the desire of my soul to come in that duality, which is painful? There must be a deeper reason, you know? And this is, it's simple. We are asked just to unfold our lives. And when we do that, we serve others because that's the perspective that they miss. If Sarbat is herself, I discover a part of myself in that totality, you know? So it's even a responsibility to go and find that dharma. I mean, in the tradition, they would start very early to infuse that in the children. But now we have lost it, so we need to wait the crisis to wake up to it.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, we can talk for hours here. It's just so much good stuff and so much inspiration and so much stuff for the soul. And it's just so beautiful. Um, Maybe now we can go into the meditation and see what we experience there with you. And I'll leave it totally up to you to take it from here.
Yes, okay, thank you. So we will do a meditation that is accessible to everybody, even if you never practice Kundalini Yoga. It's very simple, and it's a meditation that brings together the hemisphere of the brain. And the way we will do that is by putting, but before I explain the meditation, sorry, I just would like to do it the whole way. So we will tune in, do the meditation and tune out. This is what we usually do with Kundalini Yoga. And if it sounds strange for you, because we say a mantra is Ong Namo Gurudev Namo, we say it 3 times. You just follow with the breath, or you try to say the mantra. If not, you follow with the breath, because this is important to land in the meditation space, and it will already open your lungs if you do these 3 breaths that are a little bit bigger. And at the end, we tune out. This is also essential because we close that space and we do not risk to space out. And so it's a way to come back here and come back to full normality, I would say. Yeah. So we'll bring, please, your palms together. This is, you can close your eyes and just first of all feel these postures. And relax your breath. With the hands together like this and all the nerves extensions from your hands to your brain, you are already coming to your center. So focus on your breath, and we will chant 3 times this mantra, Ong Namo Gurudev Namo. It's a call to the primal sound and a call to the teacher within me. So to reach a level of consciousness within me where I have the answer, I am my own teacher. Inhale very deep. Exhale. And inhale and just follow us. Om. Inhale. Inhale deep and hold your breath and press the palms together. Straighten your spine and relax. So we're going to put the fingertip together in this way. And this mudra, it's just in front of the heart. So don't touch your body, it's just here in front of your heart. This is the 5 elements, 5 aspects that I have to balance. And as I said before, they're very connected to the brain. We close the eyes and we bring the eyes down to look at the tip of our nose. This will be maybe create a little bit of tension, but do your best. So already feel the position. And try to keep the spine straight as much as you can. We will inhale through the nose and exhale in 8 strokes through the mouth. And then you inhale again, and you do it at your own rhythm. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. until your lungs are completely empty, and then inhale again. And just continue this pattern, keeping the concentration on the tip of your nose. You build a triangle with your eyes and your nose. Maybe you can expand and relax in your inhale. You make it longer. If you feel you have any tension in your body, relax it. Any unnecessary tension, relax it. Maybe your forehead or your feet or your tongue or whatever. And you might have resistance coming up from the posture, maybe feel constrained in the mudra. Just observe it without any judgment. Listen to the sound of your breath. Any other noise that eventually is in your environment, you integrate it like if you were the one to produce it. Like it would come from the center of your being, and not let yourself be distracted by it. Really put your mouth in a O shape and really bring the air out powerfully. Just listen to your own power of your breath. Don't be shy with it. If some thoughts bring you away, as soon as you realize it, you come back to the feeling in the finger, to your breath, through the concentration on the tip of the nose, your spine straight. You have several anchors in your position to come back. If there are tensions, you just observe them without trying to change anything. For the last minute, you can intensify your breath. You can inhale deeper and breathe more out more powerfully. And please inhale very, very deep and press this finger together and squeeze anus, genital, navel. Squeeze like if you didn't want to go to the bathroom, and send the energy up the spine. Straighten the spine, send up, send up. Stay in the position, exhale through the mouth. Then inhale again and repeat. Consolidate your energy, press on your fingers, squeeze the energy, the spine up through the mouth. And last time, inhale, inhale deep, 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 deep. Press the fingers, squeeze, and exhale. Inhale, exhale, relax the arms and stretch the arms above your head and shake them a little bit. Shake your hands. Inhale deep. Exhale and relax. Just for a moment, stay with the eyes closed and just feel. Let your breath become automatic again without any conditioning. And without any judgment, just observe for yourself if what has changed in your system, maybe in your thoughts or in your emotions or in your body. Without reaching any conclusion, just what is there, accept it. And please bring your palms together again, like we did at the beginning. We will chant 3 times, Sat, Nam. Sat is long and Nam is short. Sat Nam is my true identity, my name. Inhale deep. Sat. So thank you very much for your effort, your question, and your attention. It was really nice to be with you. Thank you, Farah.
Thank you so much for being here with us. I have genuinely appreciated this experience and these conversations and these discussions together. It has been really valuable for me. I hope it has been valuable for everyone that is with us today. And we hope that you will welcome back here and join us again sometime soon, and to carry on the conversations and just to stay connected with us.
We would love to see you again.
With pleasure.
That's amazing. Should we take a selfie?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's do it. Babna, Jennifer, Gina, I don't know if you're going to come on, but it would be amazing if you do. And then we can take a group shot together.
And you were all there.
Yes, they are there.
Nice to see you.
Amazing. So 1, 2, 3. Yes. Amazing.
There's even the sound of the shot.
Yes, it's all there. But yeah, but say that again.
Sounds very real.
Yes, but once again, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your space and energy with us. It's been really beautiful to spend this evening with all of you, and see you all again sometime soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye,
Thank
Joanna.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.